Hi everyone, it's Henry here, and in this video I'm going to be going through the chapter that we have chosen for our slow painting long-term Space Marine Army project that we're going to be covering over here on YouTube and occasionally over on our Patreon as well. If you remember, a few weeks ago we did a video where I was talking about the shortlist that myself and Andy had come up with, and the feedback from you guys was amazing. There was so much good reasoning behind all the comments, as well as, you know, just paint this or just paint this random chapter. But it really did help inform the decision and made it a lot easier for us. Also gave us some ideas for future videos for perhaps some of the chapters that didn't make that shortlist that, you know, we love painting Marines, so there's no shortage of that. So it'd be nice to do those as well. So yeah, as I'm sure you've guessed by looking at the thumbnail, we've gone for the Black Templars. And we feel that this just, as did you, it gives us possibly the best opportunity to create with all these Primaris kits that keep coming out for even the chapter specific ones, you know, convert those up. It gives us the best opportunity to create the Space Marines that we think of, you know, when we look at the artwork, when we picture 40k. This is what we're going to try and do with these kits. As I mentioned before, it's going to be slow painting, so we will be painting these miniatures to a level that we're proud of, but still very much as a gaming army. You know, we want to be attending events with this army. We want to be bringing it with us so that people can enjoy looking at it. But as well as that, we're really going to work hard at making sure you can copy what we're doing or use parts of that to create your own force inspired by it. What we did was got a bunch of the new Marine kits that Games Workshop sent through for review. Then we went out and bought a load of all the Black Templars specific kits as well. Sat down, lots of cups of tea, and just started smashing through different ideas to do with them. And because two of us are going to be working on this project, I will be doing the lion's share of it, but there's a few characters in particular that Andy's really keen to convert up and paint up when he gets the opportunity. But it's really important that we're both completely aligned with how we want to go with it all, from a modelling point of view, from a painting point of view, from all of that. So we've really gone through all the scenarios in our heads, all the different things we can use, be that paint, be that miniatures kits, and just settled on a few key things that we're going to ensure runs throughout the project. The first one being Mark 7 helmets. We are still huge fans of that Mark 7 lid. For us, it's the archetypal Space Marine helmet. So for all the Marines that aren't sort of high ranking, they'll all be getting Mark 7 lids. We might sprinkle in the odd, you know, Mark 3, Mark 4 or whatever, but largely it will be Mark 7 helmets, which are now getting slightly trickier to find as those old mini Marine kits are being phased out. The Marines that are higher ranking, so things like the Sword Brethren, are they called the Initiates? It's terrible, I can't even remember the names on these things. I've been reading a lot of the various Black Templars novels at the minute, like rereading things like Hell's Reach as well, even the older stuff. But obviously when we got that new codex, there was a couple of things were introduced or canonized, I suppose, in the codex, things like Marshals, Castellans, that sort of thing. But yeah, essentially anyone that's more high ranking and say the equivalent of a veteran sergeant, we're going to start introducing the tabards in, and then as they move through the ranks they'll get even more and more. And one of the things I'm really excited to use is to explore where we can get different pelts and furs and things in, because that's something I love from John Blanche's artwork and I just don't think we see enough. So there will be back banners, there will be different pelts and things like that, and there will be plenty of colour in this army, even though it is black armour. So yeah, Mark 7 helmets, and for the more advanced or higher ranking Marines, we'll look at some of the more knightly style helmets, which may include some of the Mark 10 Primaris ones as well, just where we think it sort of fits. So yeah, tabards, knightly helmets, that sort of thing for the bosses. And then for everybody, regardless of that, the two things we're going to be adding to the miniatures, not just sort of kit bashing, are rivets. It's something that we think just ramps up that Baroque kind of feel to them, and I think it's something that's missing on a lot of the Primaris kits, but for instance does feature on some of the Black Templars upgrade pieces. There's just, you know, might be little additional rivets on a backpack piece, and it just makes a huge amount of difference. And the largest change really will be purity seals. I'll talk about that a little bit later in this video. this project coincides with Games Workshop releasing a bunch of new Marine kits and the new Marine Codex for 40k. So I thought we would go through those new kits that they sent us through for review and just see what's suitable, what sparks a bit of imagination, some ideas, and what potentially won't work for the project. And this is obviously all within that caveat of us loving the miniatures to begin with. So the Sternguard box, yeah, it's just a nice box. It's not terribly exciting, if I'm honest. I think the miniatures are quite static. Not necessarily an issue. You can sort of riff off that stoic kind of vibe, but quite static. But the pieces, you know, all the shoulder pads are separate, so that's a good start. But I'm just not sure that's going to be what kickstarts this project, if you know what I mean. Doesn't scream Black Templar at me. Also, because they've all got tabloids anyway, it's not going to be that much different. Like, it's yeah, just not terribly exciting. The jump pack captain, however, I think is exciting, or is potentially exciting. One of the issues that a lot of people have had with this kit is the cape on a captain. Is it a bit silly and all the rest of it? Yeah, it probably is, but you know, so is most of Warhammer. I don't necessarily think silliness is a reason not to do something. But I'm in agreement with most people. I wanted to see, okay, is the cloak an easy piece to remove? And looking at it here on the sprue, I think if we can just clip off the hip plate, I reckon we'll be good to go. So I'm quite excited about the idea of what we can do with that captain. Maybe we can convert him up to be, say, a jump pack chaplain. Something like that. I think, you know, the fallback option with, oh, I want to do something for the Templars, what shall I do? Oh, a chaplain is probably going to be what happens. I suspect we're going to end up with quite a few in this crusade. The assault marines, or assault intercessors, whatever they're calling them now, this kit, again, potential, I think, is what I was looking for with it. And the first time I'd opened it is right now. We're looking at it on camera. The jump packs are quite a few different pieces, so we'll see how those seams fit. And this is really disappointing, the mold lines that we've got running down the center of the legs. I noticed this when I bought the assault intercessor kit a few years ago when it came out. They had really horrible thick mold lines running down the center of things, and like shoulder pads and legs like this, and it's a real kicker for me. It puts a dampener on something. Of course, it's easy. Of course, it is simple to overcome. And if we really want them, you know, we can do that. But I'm going to be looking at options, I think, for what we can do, because I really would like to include assault marines. I think they're very cool, and I think they're quite Templary. So we'll have to see what can be done with that. But the jump packs look interesting enough. So let's see. You know, there might be some potential. This, I think, is kind of irrelevant for the Templars project, but very interesting, I think, for other Space Marine collectors and painters. And as someone who really enjoys using decals or waterslide transfers, is the new sheet that's been included. I think this was leaked online a few months ago, but really interesting that some of the chapters they've picked for icons. So you also got the Ultras and the Fists. Salamanders, that's nice, bunch of them. Been watching Pariah Nexus recently. I really enjoyed the Salamander on that. But the biggie is the Raptors symbols. You know, massive fan of that chapter. Done a video on them. Love the Badab War. Yeah, great. Got a bunch of decals to use for them. Now, the Command Squad, I would say, is probably my least favourite of the new kits, and that's just because it's quite prescriptive, and I think possibly a little unimaginative when it comes to it. The vets are all fine. This guy I think is pretty cool. The guy with the bionic arm. I'd like to include him, but like as a chapter ancient, no, I really like that Blade Guard ancient model. I think that's going to fit into our army much better. And the heavy weapon guy just looks like a Sternguard. Like, I think the Sternguard kit's more interesting than this, if I'm absolutely honest. So that one probably not going to get involved in the Templar project. But two kits that I was pretty confident would be involved in this project were the Terminator Chaplain, which I've already started cutting up, which I think you saw earlier in the video. Nice sprue, actually. A bunch of options on there. Not just what you can arm him with, but you've got a couple of head options. You've got two different options for the Crozius, which I thought was really nice. And again, if we're going to have lots of chaplains, that's kind of useful that you've got two complete Crozius arms come with it. Well, Crozius hands come with it. So there we go, two Crozius in that kit. So I'm keen to. I think that guy has a lot of potential. I think he's a little bit boring as is, but I don't think it takes a lot of work to make a really, really pleasing model out of it. And I don't want any of this to sound arrogant, but when I'm saying boring, or when I say I think it can be really interesting, I mean to me. If you enjoy these kits, all power to you. That's fantastic. just because I think they're boring. Someone else might think they're incredibly exciting. But we're talking about, very personal project here for us. And the Terminator kit is wonderful. You've got a ton of different helmet options. We've got 4 different helmets heads. We've got the Cyclone missile launcher, which I think looks superb. They're just an improvement on what were already fantastic reimaginings that we got with the recent Leviathan box. So yeah, I think I'd like to kick the project off with some Terminators and a Terminator Chaplain, because yeah, they're awesome. I also picked up these heads from Forge World a little while back. They've done 2 packs of helmetless Marine heads, and I say it's such a focal point in the miniature. I want every single head or helmet we use in this army to be 9 out of 10. We love them that much. Every single Marine a hero, everyone an individual, everyone just really cool. And I found a head I think I'm going to use. And now the pointing arm, or the Stormbolter arm here, is from the normal Terminator kit. When you get these arms sculpted on, like his Crozius arm and his Bolter arm, sometimes just changing the orientation of them can make it look a little bit awkward. For instance, his Stormbolter isn't designed to be out at that angle, and just elevating his arm so that the Stormbolter does go out of that angle just did not look right. But going through the Terminator kit and finding that one that is designed to look like that, really easy little kit bash to do there with that. And then picked up the Templar accessory sprue thing, because I think there's some really nice little pieces on here, and we love all the little doodads and fetishes and stuff that the Templars use. And yeah, I'm a big fan of these upgrade sprues that they're doing for them. And I thought, if we're going to go with back banners and all the rest of it, let's start as we mean to go on. And there's this weird creepy shroud thing, which I think I read through the codex ages ago. I think maybe they were like actual pieces, represented actual pieces of special items, or whatever you call them, war gear items that are unique. And I think that's what this sort of creepy shroud thing is. And it'll just elevate him. It'll increase that silhouette. It'll just up the levels of 40k that we're trying to achieve with this project. It did need a little bit of trimming up, and I thought I may as well talk about some of the tools that are going to be key to this army project and getting it done. And I've had these side cutters from Redgrass now for, I don't know, about 6 months or so, something like that. Honestly, they've changed my hobby. Lots of people do side cutters. I know, Redgrass Games, we really like them. They've supported us from very, very early on. Before we had the YouTube channel, they support us by providing pallets and things for our painting classes, our in-person classes. So when they sent these through, I was like, oh, all right, I'll give them a go. And they're different to clippers. I use my clippers for removing bits off the sprue and that kind of thing, but cleaning up and just accurate work, these side cutters are amazing. And I know a lot of people in the Gundam hobby world use different brands of side cutters. So yeah, if you're intrigued, I would highly recommend picking them up. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And yeah, we're going to be drilling barrels a lot. I actually think I'm going to pick up one of those WoW sticks, those Pinjos. They're a little bit too dear for me at the minute, so I'm just keeping an eye on various websites, seeing when maybe there's a little bit of a sale comes on them. But I do think across the army it will save quite a bit of time, because there's going to be a lot of pinning. I'll need to pin this banner. I'm going to be drilling all the barrels. I will probably be painting everything on cork, so I'll need to pin the feet for them to go into the cork to paint on them and stuff. So I actually think across a project, the investment may well be worthwhile. Now, I mentioned earlier about purity seals. It's a really big one we want to focus on. As much as the sculpted ones are cool, and it feels a bit sacrilegious sometimes to be snipping them off, we want to make them more exaggerated. We want to do really long flowing purity seals, create a little bit more motion and a bit more drama in the miniatures. So what we'll be doing is cleaning up all the actual parchment parts of the seals and replacing them. We're going to use 2 different things. We're going to use this brass sheet, this 0.5mm brass sheet. We're going to use 0.5mm plasticard as well. I will cover that when we actually use them in the various projects, a little bit more about why I would choose to use one rather than the other. But I've used this brass sheet on lots of projects for banners, most recently on my Adeptus Titanicus stuff, my Legio Krytos. I've done all their banners using that. And honestly, it's just simply a case of snip it off, use some scissors or use a hobby knife and cut the piece you want and super glue it on and bend it around. They are fragile to a degree, but not particularly. You know, they got flex in them, which if anything improves the chances of them surviving transit. But also we use magnetized cases now anyway, not foam or that atrocious looking new figure box thing Citadel showed recently. Yeah, we use magnets now. And lastly is rivets. I'm going to be using the Zinj Industry ones. I'll put a link down in the description. We're not affiliated with them at all, but I've used stuff from this company for years now. I found them at Salute, and they're just really quality things. Like to support a UK company, and I like them because they are, you know, cut off. So I'm not using little glass beads or anything. I can just use these things. And last up, what I will talk about on next week's video is the actual painting. We're rather excited by this lovely set Colourforge sent through to us of their new sort of triads of spray paints. I really hope you're looking forward to this project as much as myself and Andy are. And again, we are massively thankful for all the support you guys have given us over here and over on Patreon and allowing us to plan and do things like this. We would like to evolve the channel from now on. We do want to be taking on more personal projects and bringing in longer format things to you, you know, multi-part series and stuff. So if that's what you'd like to see, let me know down in the comments, and we know that we're on the right track with it. We really do value the feedback that you guys give us. So next week, let's get started on the first unit for this crusade. If you've enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you next time.